Hi, friends, and namaste. Namaste, and hi, friends. My name's host Eric, and today I'm discussing with everyone emotion feelings, our moistest dew. Good morning, Octavio Silva. How tender are your dewdrops this morning? On a scale of 1 to tender. A scale of 1 to extraordinarily tender. My dewdrops are so tender, yeah they are, moist with the flavor of laughter. I just finished watching Reincarnated as a Slime. Oh, what a great show. What a great show. That Rimuru-sama. I'm going to say Rimuru-sama is the winner. Hi, Cammoto. How you doing, dog? Rachel's not awake yet. Or she's inside the house. Hi, Ron Allen Salon. How are you doing this morning? We're talking about our emotion feelings today. Emotion feelings are the dewiest, tenderest, moistest parts of us. How are your emotion feelings doing? They're good. I'm glad to hear that. Because you know what's most important in life? How we feel. How we feel. Right now, I'm feeling emotionally enriched, like bread with extra nuts and berries in it. I thought it was too long. So that's what I thought. I started reading it and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, when I push show more, I was like, oh my God, these are too many words. Only I'm allowed to say that many words. I'm sorry. Did I hurt your dewdrops? Look, I made dewdrops fall out of Octavia Silva's eyes. I'm sorry, Octavia Silva. Now you make me feel bad. I'll look at it. Maybe I'll make a video out of it. You never know. Sometimes things happen in this world. Like, yesterday, who knew? Who knew Eric was going to make a type police video yesterday? Not me. Somebody must have known. Wonder how that's doing anyway. Let's see. Type police. It's got 162 views, 8 comments, and 18 likes. That's better than most of my videos. Doing that amount of time, I would suspect. Let me look at the Statisticosos. You know what? It's about typical, it says. It's a little bit more than normal. Well, the watch time is more. It's got a lot of good, good watch time. That's interesting. I already typed Police Queen's Gambit. Og. Why don't you just judge those two chicks as individuals rather than generalizing to the population as a whole? How about that? A guy in that type police video was very talented at simultaneously saying a ton of words and saying absolutely nothing. Well, he said a lot about how we should perceive him. That's ESFP 6 slot FE. It's pretty irritating, frankly. It's like, that's not how it's supposed to work. Cam Moto asks, are emotions good? Yes, they are. They are good. They're the chewy, meaty, fatty part of the slice of beef that we call life. But, sometimes they annoy me too. Okay, well, Lee Trimmer, you shouldn't need to be convinced to not generalize out to a group unreasonably. That should be your default status. Well, no, your point is you're looking for confirmation of your group bias. And you're finding it. Shocking. Even if you were looking for anti-confirmation of it, you're still missing the point. It's the groupist shit that's the problem, not whether or not it's accurate. If you're asking that question, you're just engaging in that kind of groupist shit. Now, look, leaf trimmer. First of all, may I just say, you did an incredibly shitty job of trimming all the leaves off of this weed. Incredibly shitty. Call yourself a leaf trimmer and be responsible for this bag of weed. You are misnamed, sir. You are misnamed, because just look at all the leaves they left on these buds. Oops, dropping weed. Dropping weed's not a good idea. They left all kinds of leaves on these buds. See them? Look at that shit. Who manicures weed like this? Who manicures weed like this? It sounds like he was quoting something or reading some bullshit. I don't know. I thought it was pretty nice. Yeah, he's a TWFP dude. Yeah. He's a guy I visited in Arizona. Yeah, it tends to make me a little angry about the quantity of misinformation out there as well. So anyway, leaf trimmer, what you need to do, I didn't group you. That's not grouping you, though. You might say I'm being unfair to you. I'm being reductive about you in some fashion, but I'm not calling you part of some sort of group. I'm saying stop doing that stupid stuff. You know, same thing I say to everybody. Now, it feels really good sitting on this fence post. The tip of the fence post is here. Okay? That's how deep my butthole goes. You are being hostile to them almost every time. If that produces in me a bit of a habituated assumption that you're going to again, then that's not groupism in any sort. That's just called, oh, look, this guy has a pattern of behavior. For golly goodness sakes. And regardless, here you are starting this shit right now. Here you are starting it again. I'm not the one who brought up chicks and being groupers about them. You did. That's not grouping you. That's describing you. I don't think you're representative of some group. I think you're an anti-girl dude. That's not a group. That's a description of you. I don't think it's a group. I don't think you represent MGTOW or whatever. I just think you represent leaf trimmer. And once again, I think you did a shitty job of trimming the leaves off my weed. But that's okay. I was talking about my day yesterday. Didn't mean to start anything. Okay, let's see how you talk about your day yesterday. Sup, Eric? I'm pretty tired. Been lacking sleep a lot. Tired from work. 2 other coworker chicks left half an hour earlier before we closed, and I had to close the shop myself. These chicks aren't really proving me wrong about my standing positions regarding them. I mean, come the fuck on. Okay. Here's a bone. That was a good bong rip. You need that bong rip, Leaf Trimmer. That's what you need. I should have transubstantiated it to you. I'll get you the next time, okay? I gotta get the torch. Do it properly. Who's better at crushing beer cans on their heads? ESFP or ESTP? You know, I'd call that a coin flip. I call that a coin flip. No, Leaf Trimmer, you entered the room bringing up your own position on women and saying that these two chicks did you wrong in some fashion at work, and that's not convincing you to not be that way about chicks. I mean, and then you accuse me of like putting some sort of assumption onto you, like not giving you a chance. I mean, the fuck? You didn't give me a chance to give you a chance. You came right in with that shit immediately. Yeah, but you're venting about group that you don't like. Why not just, who cares if these two people are chicks, you know? I'm not always a feminist. Okay, you keep shifting ground, Leaf Trimmer. I don't want to play. I don't want to wait for my life to be over to stop bickering with Leaf Trimmer all of the time. Okay? Did you hear my song? I don't want to wait for my life to be over before I stop bickering with Leaf Trimmer all the time. Okay, be sleep deprived. It doesn't change the fact that I don't want to wait for my life to be over before I'm in. No. Fox Bennett, I do not think that drugs alter your type. I think that one, they alter one's behavior and perceptions to some extent, but it's simply to say that, you know, to the extent that I'm altered by pulling these bong rips, for example, I'm altered in the fashion that an ENTP is altered because I'm an ENTP. And the thing about a type is it refers to a cognitive function stack, which is to say, and it's unchanging, and they aren't exactly skills, although some of them correlate with skills. It's your function stack doesn't really change, but obviously, different points of your life, you may, for short periods of time, prioritize certain functions over others, perhaps, but it's all going to be conscious stack stuff. You don't willfully and consciously prioritize or attend via your backslot functions. So the answer is drugs don't change that reality. They may make it, like, in theory anyway, if I were negatively impacted by marijuana cognitively in some fashion, for example, then it may make it more difficult for me to explain it. But I mean, it's easy to test your TI, Fox Bennett. In fact, I was going to make a video last night before I fapped and went to sleep instead, about what TI is. So, okay, well, I don't have any faith in his ability to type then. How did he confirm it? What was the methodology he used? How did you confirm it? What was the methodology you used to determine whether or not you have TI? This is important. So, Rachel, I don't normally, but sometimes occasionally I do. So she was asleep. This is what I'm asking you, Fox Bennett. What is the methodology that you or he or somebody else used to determine whether or not you have TI? No, Ron Alsalon, that's not TID at all. TI says, what is the methodology used to determine whether or not you're TI? Now let's critique the methodology. Is that actually going to link to TI? Definitionally, how do we define it? How can we concretize it in some fashion? So what I'm asking Fox Bennett is, what is the methodology that he or you or someone else used to determine that you had TI? What kind of questions did they ask and how did you answer them? $107, Mackenzie. So the thing is, Fox Bennett, certain kinds of questions actually test one's introverted thinking. And some kinds of questions simply ask you to tell your perception of your own introverted thinking. The second kind of questions are worthless. Your perceptions of yourself are not meaningful in typing yourself, because while they would be meaningful in someone with TI tool, for example, they would be meaningless with somebody with FI tool, and we don't know until after the typing which you are. So obviously, self-identification isn't a useful means of identifying somebody's type, especially with something like TI, which can be tested directly. So TI is asking the following question: what is the means by which you were determined to have TI? What are the questions that were asked? This is a very TI question. In other words, to know whether or not these other people were right in typing you as TI, or whether or not you were right in typing you as TI, we need to know how you came to that conclusion, because we think we understand, and in fact we do, the correct means to drawing that conclusion. Well, okay, so if you were TI tool, you would have answered the question I asked. But you didn't answer the question I asked. If you were a TI Dom, you would have answered the question I asked, but you didn't answer the question I asked. I'm going to ask the question again. What is the methodology used by, say, Benjamin or yourself to determine whether or not you're TI? You've just made a claim that you understand the difference between rationality and logic. It's very clear to me if someone's being rational versus logical. Okay, that doesn't answer any of my question, right? My question is, so are you trying to tell me you believe that logical is TI and rational is not, or what? I'm not sure what you mean here at all, right? You're not trying to be clear with your definitions. You're not trying to operationalize them. People with TI tend to do that. So ask the question again. What's the methodology used? Which questions were asked of you? Which tests were given to you to test skills that determined you were TI? If there weren't any good questions asked, or you didn't determine that in a good fashion, then you are wrong about it, or we should consider you wrong about it until we confirm it in a good way. Simply doing things the wrong way doesn't mean you come to the wrong conclusion necessarily. However, doing things the wrong way means we assume you've come to the wrong conclusion until we do it the right way, because we can't rely on those results at all. This is TI, what you're hearing. This is what TI sounds like. I'm putting on some pants. So what you display a lot of, Fox Bennett, is NI. Things that you know. You keep using the words, in fact, I know this, I know that. That's introverted intuition. That's not introverted thinking. Introverted thinking is deliberative in the following fashion. If P or Q, then R, and not Q. Can we conclude not R? Yes or no? That's TI. I am patient. I'm patient, I guess. Yeah, I hear you. I don't mean to be a dick. I have so much frustration because, well, it's like what Octavia Silva said earlier in the chat. It made her sad how much misinformation there is out there. It's not like you tried to get misinformation. You went to whatever the internet directed you. Probably ended up with like CS Joseph and OP and shit like that. And it's all fucking garbage. But you have no reason to necessarily know that. So it's not your fault. It makes me sad too. That's why I'm covering my eyes with my hands. To block out the sadness from my vision. Because I don't want to wait. All right, so, all right, here. If you need to write it out a second, if you hear the following thing, if P or Q, then R, and not Q, therefore not R, valid or invalid, and you don't know, you need to write it out and look at it, you're not TI tool or TI dominant. If P or Q and not Q, if P or Q, then R, and not Q, can we conclude not R? CS Joseph, no ISTP. CS Joseph is ESTJ or ESFP. ESTJ probably. I have to go pee. I'm going to put on intermission. Turn the whole thing there. Don't be dumb. Hey, don't forget to take my poll about which anime character would win in a battle royale. Naruto? I tell you who'd win. Rimuru. That's who'd win. Rimuru's the most badass. At least you're asking for a lot of bones this morning. You were asking for a lot of bones. Okay. Yeah. And here's some delightful music for you to listen to while I'm going to go touch myself. Party beers to the west right now. Everybody knows the game she plays. Your place, be the best. Pound your chest, shake the rust. Press the roof to stay concrete enough. Moves are true, intuitive, pure. A hard, quick of feet. The peerage of the party. Run off to the east. Run off to the east. Run off to the east again. Party peerage to the west right now. Everybody knows the game she plays. full of her snow an hour ago, even though everybody said, wait, no, she couldn't say, it'd be wrong. She already been there too long. Florence could hear the things they said. She preferred the words in her head. She took the wheel, heading due east. In order to feel, she hurtled towards space. Picked up the kid, surveyed her mood. Doubt on her face, she slowly unglued. Doubt on her face, clouded her view. Chicago now room where Theodore lived. It ain't town, Flo and the kid. They drove to a hood where nobody should. Flo did what she said it would. Florence was mad and eager to shout. The kid had been bad and had to get out. Reclined in a seat, the kid was a liar, pretending to sleep. The kid had conspired, now justice set least for what the girl did. Alone onward east, Flo booted the kid. She booted the kid. Alone onward east, Flo booted the kid. Persistence seems entrapped. Florence can't stay one place long. Now she's on her way to Joplin. But that place too will end up being wrong. Got the receipt, a call from the kid. He's from Chicago, as previously said. Young like the kid, he hopped in the car. Here's what he did. He drove to a bar, outside of which stood the kid and her stuff. And quick as she could, and just fast enough, she got in the car. They drove away. She had been saved by Theo that day. Onward alone, drove Florence to space, losing her mind, but keeping the pace. Keeping the pace. Losing her mind and keeping the pace. Jonas got his cab on it, stuffed full of frogs. He's forgotten all about his lunchtime date. And Helen's leaving nasty comments on his blog, 'cause Jonah's running really, baby, late. They say neurotics always link up to a tendency towards the things they do. Means mostly and words clinician life, and blessing now a must. Lay it high, and when your truck's on the ground, make your pay a grand across round around. Rust, void, rust, and bleak for life's sake. Calling, but it can't be heard on. Focuses or happenstance, neurotic focuses on. He's telling now that it is time to jump upon the ground to make a big renegade. I want you to make a buy. Wait, how about the rest? Jonas got his cab on it, stuffed full of frogs. He's forgotten all about his lunchtime date. And Helen's leaving nasty comments on his blog, 'cause Jonah's running really, baby, late. People everywhere, corrupt enemies, outraged at night, and it's a sign. How do they send terrorities? These foreign backstabbing entities. Pursuing how they get misery, follow necessarily from their savage ways. Concussion and Desiree, we're stuck with such dirty larceny. We all petition victories and call it destruction of the whole damn world. Julie shares the land. Hoping Julie will do. shameful for minutes. He just can't do things like they do. Julie always thought that she should have got to when she had the chance to buy. Julie soon forgot to buy you. Which burger is called a Royal? So here's the thing. I was thinking this analogy, or this is a good thing to explain cognitive functions in general. Imagine a picture of a man and a woman standing on either side of a pineapple plant in Hawaii. Some palm trees and stuff. The sun is shining. It's a nice day. And the man says to the woman, this is my attempt to do this, Octavia Silva. The man says to the woman, if it freezes today, the pineapples will die. What's everybody's response to that? Go ahead and type in your response to that situation. I'll repeat the situation for everybody. It's very straightforward. There's a man and a woman. They're standing on either side of a pineapple plant. It's a sunny day. They're in Hawaii. The man says to the woman, if it freezes today, the pineapples will die. What's your response to it? Okay, so you just got the two categories of answers you're going to possibly get there, okay? But it's not going to freeze, or he's probably right. Okay? So you got two kind of responses to that question. But it's not going to freeze, or... well, he's probably right. Or maybe they'll get preserved and last longer. You know, who knows? This question is not a question. It's a situation that I'm asking people to respond to in their most natural fashion. And the situation is this. There's a man and a woman standing on either side of a pineapple plant. And it's a sunny day. They're in Hawaii. And the man says to the woman, if it freezes today, the pineapples will die. What's your response to that? There are two possible frames of reference, really, by which people seem to respond to it. In my mind, is that I've come up with. Everything falls into one of a couple of categories. One category is, but it's not going to freeze. One category is that it's that they're probably right. Assume it's a plant that dies when it freezes, okay? Now, there's also the extroverted intuition response, which is, I'm not going to, the meta-analyst extroverted intuition response, which is, I'm not going to deal with this in any way that is normal or expected. I'm going to challenge it, which is fine, but is also not a, which is its own frame of reference. That's another way you could respond to it, right? But most people, you've got a few different ways you're going to respond to it. You're going to sort of wait to see where the person's going with it. Okay. Or you're going to say, like, and, or, so where are you going with this? Or you just wait for them to continue. That's sort of a receive mode, right? You could respond back to it in an action deliberation mode, as Skygear did, saying, put more information out there about what I'm doing than about the scenario that's being presented, right? You could respond by saying something like, but it's Hawaii, it's not going to freeze. You could respond by saying something like, they're probably right. So, or you could, like I said, you could use maybe an SI approach and say, that reminds me of the time I went to Hawaii when it got really cold, but it didn't actually freeze. Okay, so then you're concluding that the man's wrong. So that's the same as the man's right, okay? That's the same category as the man's correct. The man's incorrect or the man's correct are the same answer as far as I'm concerned, attentionally, right? In terms of category of response. Having a position on the man's correctness is one kind of response. Okay, so you've chosen to have a position on the man's correctness. That's a TI frame of reference, okay? But the more likely natural TI frame of reference is going to get expressed is, but it's not going to freeze in Hawaii. Why is that a TI frame of reference? Why is that a good TI frame of reference? Why is that indicative of a TI frame of reference? Because it's saying the antecedent to the conditional will always be false, so the statement will always be true, thus it's irrelevant to anything. People don't articulate it like that. People say, but it's not going to freeze. But what they mean is the antecedent to the conditional will always be false. Thus, the conditional statement is always true and never sound as an argument for anything or valid as part of any argument because it's tautological and meaningless. People don't express it that way, but that's what they mean when they say, but it's not going to freeze. Now, if you say he's probably right or he's probably wrong, if you got to he's probably wrong the way that Skygear did, you're NEing and TIing. If you did it the way that Boba Fett did, well, he's probably right, but on the other hand, he might be wrong. Might add preservation. Thinking about it through a purely TE frame of reference, right? Whether, like, why one would care about what happens to the pineapples when they freeze. Maybe it's useful in terms of production and or shipping or something. It's like that's a TE frame of reference. Can you come on tonight and talk to me? Sure. We could have a conversation. I don't know if I'm going to be on tonight. But yeah, I tell you what, if I probably will be on tonight. If I am on tonight, yeah, sure. Between now and then, I'm going to make a video about TI that's based on this Hawaii thing, okay? Yeah, you're an hour later, I think. My dad's in Arizona right now. Or actually, he's in Nevada. But he's in Laughlin, Bullhead City. Oh, is it only different during daylight, what is daylight saving times? I mean, it's lovely where I am, but LA proper is a shithole. It's both. It's like you've got these homeless encampments all over the place. Downtown area, just LA proper area. And then you've also got a lot of stuff going on around it, just sort of walking around it, ignoring it, you know? Yep. He sure is, Rachel. My dad's coming back today. And I made sure to do all the little things not all of them quite. Actually, I should probably end this pretty soon. Okay, so then that's a TI style qualification, right? Well, of course, I am who I am, whether I smoke weed or not. The point is, how people respond to that situation discusses. No, they don't contradict each other. I think what you mean to say is they counteract each other, but the answer is no, sort of ish, in a little bit. If you get different kinds of weed are more nap inducing than others. So, like, if I smoke kind of what you might call burnout weed, I'm likely to take a nap. And so in that regards, they kind of work at odds a little bit, but to the extent that the weed has that impact on me when I'm on Adderall, it's a positive. It's like it's helped me be a little less gacky, I guess. Marijuana is not an upper. Marijuana is a mild psychedelic. It's not an upper. So the thing is, getting back to this issue of the two people in Hawaii standing there, right? People can have a lot of different responses to it. But, well, the way I explain cognitive functions, Fox Bennett, is I guess inherently see what I do, I make some pretty unavoidably so observations as axioms, okay? Based on the concept of Jungian cognitive functions. But more importantly, I note that there are, for example, a genuine range of results that tend to fall into categories for certain kinds of questions. So, for example, when I taught logic, I've been a classroom teacher for a long time as well. So what I see is that there are some students who naturally engage with symbols in similar ways that I do, and some students that naturally completely can fail to engage with symbols in an adequate way, even in certain contexts, right? So there are some people that I ask questions of when I've typed hundreds of people, but the key thing is what questions you're asking, right? So I'm asking questions like, can you do this? Can you imitate what I'm about to do right now? I woke up 2 hours ago, and then first thing I did was I took a pee, and then I heated up a cup of coffee in the microwave, and then I put in a few scoops of creamer, and I stirred it around, and then I sat down here and I watched. I went to watch the episode of Scientific Accelerator that I was currently watching, but then I noted that the new Black Clover was out, and I watched that instead. And then I noted that the new Slime was out, and I watched that, which was that Slime show is so fantastic. No, I don't think I did. I don't really remember. Sort of half-mast to pee, I guess. Thanks for your curiosity. Juola, I would say that is definitely an FI response, right? You felt bad for the pineapple. There's one possible FI response. So the thing is, here's the deal. What we're really arguing about here in terms of this pineapple and the two people in Hawaii is the issue of quote unquote material implication. So I made a video the other day, yesterday, that RC thought, do we need the pineapples? So about the negation of conditionals and how it creates this weird situation. If you say it is not the case that if it freezes, then the pineapples will die, one can logically conclude both that it does freeze and the pineapples don't die. So people don't normally think that is correct, but the reason it's logically correct is because this thing called material implication, which is to say conditionality always has before it basically, assuming the following conditional were to materialize, but conditionals don't necessarily materialize. An unmaterialized conditional begins with an antecedent that's false. Unmaterialized conditionals are always true because to be falsified, they have to materialize. But that operation within what you'd call an unmaterialized reality is functionally TI. Operation within an unmaterialized reality that is parsing, not knowledge, is TI. So when you know things, you are not using introverted thinking. When you explain things like I'm explaining right now, you probably are. When you're using a lot of conditionals to explain things, if it were the case that I had meh, 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 you're using a lot of subjunctive mood, you're much more likely to be TI. Here's another sort of TI question that I often ask, which is the rooster and the chicken one. There's this chicken in England who was part of a flock of hens, and then she had one of her ovaries damaged, and she became a rooster. She grew rooster feathers. She started cock-a-doodle-dooing. She protected the flock from hawks. She did all the rooster shit. She dug up treats for the hens, her special favorite hens, everything except, of course, mate with them. Was it actually a chicken or a rooster? And how people respond to that will tell you basically whether or not TI is an absolute value or an instrumental value. So if it's an absolute value, people are likely to more likely to challenge the question. If it's an absolute value front stack, let's say first or third, they're more likely to challenge the question. Say, well, it depends on your frame of reference. Second or fourth, they're more likely to pick a position because they expect parsing to be instrumental anyway. How many of you would say that I'm tall and tan and young and lovely? The point is to try to get people to understand what introverted thinking is. Which was I've repeated it, in fact. But introverted thinking is dealing with unmaterialized reality in a parsing fashion rather than a knowing fashion. That's the point, Richard Gannon. I'll repeat it for you. Introverted thinking is dealing with an unmaterialized reality in a parsing fashion rather than a knowing fashion. Now, I did a lot of extra explanation because just throwing that definition out there without doing some of the background explanation would be inadequate for people who want to understand it for real, because it's you got to understand what I mean by materialized. I'm very antsy right now. What was I about to do? I was about to stop doing this and meow something. Oh yeah, right. I was going to ask everybody. Thank you for reminding me, Winston's mom. Would you say that I'm tall and tan and young and lovely, and also the girl from Ipanema goes walking? Would you say those things? And further, would you conclude meow 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 meow? Meow 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 meow. It's been a long time since what? It's been a long, long time since I killed a thing that was a mystical creature before. It's been a long, long time since I mined some gold out of that mountain ore. It's been a really long time since I was born, nearly half a century. So what you talking about, Richard Gannon, when you say it's been a long time to me? No, okay, so I don't want to train you to invalidate my tests anymore. Okay, yes, you proved that you can practice this enough that it makes them meaningless. Thank you. Appreciate it. Great job. My conf? I wonder what my conf is. My conf is, what does it mean? My life? Life conf? Everyone's conf. Black confs matter. Eric, you're like an anime character CPU, and automated responses. What you just said doesn't apply. Basically, you're known as that's the one guy who can't vent with, got to walk around eggshells and make sure everything you say holds up logically. I mean, you're trying to repaint. You're a Spanish painting restorationist. Oh, fight? I thought it was life. Okay, fight. Struggle. Okay. Check it out. Check it out. No, like that lady who fixed the painting of Jesus. Surely you've seen my hilarious video about Spanish art restorationists. Lee Trevor, I'm not that kind of douchebag. I'm sorry. You keep wanting me to be that. I'm just not that kind of douchebag, you know? Did you ever know that you're my douchebag? Please tell me I'm saying this to you. Did you always know that you're my douchebag? Did you ever know you douchey way? And when you're just douchiness brings, you are the wind beneath my waves. You're the wind beneath my waves. I mean, Richard Gannon, you've got it backwards. You'd want to make an argument that says the legitimacy of the model you're presenting, Eric, is falsified or invalidated by the following set of reasons. Those reasons may be equivalent to astrology, but that's how one would argue that. Okay, so since I present a pretty concrete set of claims based on some observations and axioms and build up accordingly, I provide a simulatable version of it as well. And with information flow, objects, vectors, just like any other simulatable system, you'd need to actually critique that to successfully make any arguments here. It's not like I'm just pulling claims randomly out of my ass about anything. I have a fully constructed understanding of it that's predicated on pretty indisputable observations and axioms that no reasonable person would argue about. So if you'd like to critique that, go ahead. But that's quite a bit of work you got in front of you. You're not gonna get me to do your work for you. I've actually answered that in several videos. Again, you're asking me to do your work for you. You do your own work. Watch those videos. Want me to find them for you? Yes, the model makes predictions. Yes, you could falsify it. I've established a couple of different ways. For example, multiple polars existing in the same individual. Now, I've also acknowledged this is not quite science yet because we don't have a rock solid empiric links, and the skills test are as clear as we can get. However, we could test it with a simulation, and I've established exactly how to do that as well. So if you want to be serious about critiquing it, be serious. Don't just come in here and be another douchebag, right? I'm a debate coach. I know how to construct cases. I do it for a living. I know how to take apart shit that's bullshit. So I know how to avoid making bullshit. I can smell bullshit 100 miles away and destroy it with a nuclear weapon from at least as far. So believe you me, I'm not going to tolerate it in my case. People come in here having done no work and act as though they have. It's appalling. Research. If you want to come in here and critique me and what I'm saying, research what I'm actually saying. Maybe read my book. I mean, I know that's a crazy notion, but if a person were serious about critiquing me, they'd start by doing that reading the shit that I've written. But they're not serious about critiquing me. They don't want to do the work. They want to play meh. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, co-star.
How are you this morning, my darling?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm currently meowing at somebody.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What happened?
Oh, somebody said some meow and I had to meow back.
That's good.
Yeah.
The tank looks lively.
Well, I don't know where he is, but I do believe.
There he is.
Oh, there he is. He's right there. Now he's still trying to find his place in the world here.
Okay.
I think we really upset him
Oh.
because he must be probably about some mold. And so I was even thinking about he's wanting to climb out. If we had like
He's going to climb out.
if we had like a separate thing of water on top and a little board he could climb up onto and go into that might make him really happy. So maybe we should try that today.
Okay.
Well, Richard Gannon, that's true. You're right. And that's my own SI problem there. I'm habituated to people coming in with the same arguments every time. And they're always the same kind of bullshit, putting a burden on me to make justifications I've already made a million times, right? So it's like and Lee Trimmer, listen, you were the subject of a song. That's all you were. Don't internalize that shit. It's not entirely falsifiable, but I mean, the thing is, it's pretty falsifiable. Like, for example, if I mean, that's the thing. It's like these kind of questions ask me to do a lot of work verbally right now to explain a lot of things. So I just start with this. It's observationally indisputable that, for example, deliberation is distinct from knowledge and that action is distinct from knowledge. That people both put information and receive information. Those things are indisputable. So cognitive functions are all about that. And the reason I get frustrated is because, of course, I've written a book about it. I mean, not really. I've assembled a book about it, and I'm in the process of writing something else. I've made 6,000 videos or something like that. And people come in and ask me the questions again and again and again that require a lot more explanation if they want a genuine answer than I can easily hand out in a moment's notice. And then I get critiqued for somehow not doing a thorough job of explaining the matter when I've done nothing but a thorough job of explaining the matter. Yes, I'm an otaku, not a weeb. That's correct, Leaf Trimmer. Stop trying to provoke me. I should make a FAQ video. I should. Well, hopefully my speed comes through today. All right, I'm going to wrap this live stream up. It's leaving a bad taste in my mouth. I'll see you guys later.